say it tongue-in-cheek, but thank God for the Pharisees. The more we read about them, the more we encounter them in Scripture, the more we see some of their sins in our own life. So let's face it, there are some of us with a little too much spiritual pride or showmanship, where we think we got it all together, or at least we want it to appear like we do. Well, today we meet a rather fascinating character, a Pharisee named Nicodemus. Nicodemus is a leader in the Jewish council or court known as the Sanhedrin, which was not particularly fond of Jesus. It's not surprising, therefore, that Nicodemus went to see Jesus at night, so as not to be seen with him in the day. In his conversation with Jesus, Nicodemus states very clearly that he understands that the signs or the miracles that Jesus carried out show that God is with him. Jesus points out, however, that what's really important are not the signs and wonders, but a change in a person's inner life, which could only be described as a new birth. But Nicodemus does not grasp what Jesus is saying. Jesus instructs him in the ways of baptism, saying that one needs to be born again of water and the Spirit. But like I said, Nicodemus just doesn't get it. And he can only visualize being born again physically from a mother's womb. So he wasn't entirely wrong, but that's not what Jesus is trying to tell him. Well, perhaps we can feel some kinship with Nicodemus. Why? Well, first of all, we too have an appetite to understand things, but we struggle to embrace what's beyond our understanding. We end up spinning our wheels trying to comprehend the incomprehensible instead of just receiving the good news that Jesus offers. We are like Nicodemus because sometimes we need to see more proof, like physical proof, that Jesus is active in our lives. Well, the proof, my friends, is already all around us, in the people, in nature, and in circumstances. Like Nicodemus, we also struggle with the sin of pride and self-righteousness. Yet, deep down, we want to authentically serve the Lord, and we want to come to Jesus as a sinner, seeking relief and peace from him, and most certainly mercy and forgiveness through the sacrament of reconciliation. In this glorious season of Easter, we can be changed in such a way that we experience a total rebirth or a recreation. We can be Nicodemus 3.0, if you may, who's no longer afraid to come to Jesus in the day, and who has abandoned his legalistic or Pharisaic ways. This change, that is, being born anew, can only come not through mere human efforts or rules and rituals, but through God's powerful love entering our hearts.
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of the Mass. This virtual Mass is broadcast to hundreds of people every day of the week. Over 100 years ago, the very first celebrations of the Mass took place on the second floor of the Glenview Public House. It's been inconceivable that 100 years later, we would be reaching so many people all over the world through this technology. If you'd like to support the ongoing broadcasts of OLPH's Masses, please go to our website, go to Give Central, and you'd be able to support the ongoing outreach of this virtual ministry. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us in prayer. God bless you.